Lake Tanganyika is a large lake in Central Africa that is estimated to be the second largest freshwater lake in the world by volume and the second deepest, in both cases after Lake Baikal in Siberia. It is also the world's longest freshwater lake and one of the world's oldest lakes, having been formed around 20 million years ago. Located at the southern end of the Western Rift Valley, the lake is divided among four countries: Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Tanzania, and Zambia. The water flows into the Congo River system and ultimately into the Atlantic Ocean. Lake Tanganyika is situated within the western rift of the Great Rift Valley that runs from Lebanon to Mozambique and is confined by the mountainous walls of the valley. It is the largest rift lake in Africa and the second largest lake by surface area on the continent. It is the deepest lake in Africa and holds the greatest volume of fresh water. It extends for 410 miles, 673 kilometers, in a general north-south direction and averages 50 kilometers in width. Much of the lake's coastline is high escarpment, falling directly into the lake. Since the surface of the lake lies 2,515 feet above sea level and it is 4,710 feet, 1,470 m, deep, the lake bottom is 2,195 feet below sea level. The lake covers 32,900 square kilometers, with a shoreline of 1,828 kilometers and a mean depth of 570 m and a maximum depth of 1,470 meters 4,823 feet, in the northern basin. It holds an estimated 18,900 cubic kilometers, 4,500 cubic miles. It has an average surface temperature of 25 degrees Celsius and a pH averaging 8.4. Additionally, beneath the 500 meters of water there is approximately 4,500 meters of sediment overlaying the rock floor, leading scientists to estimate its age at 20 million years, though not always in the same shape it is in now. Of the four countries in which it lies, the Democratic Republic of Congo, 45%, and Tanzania, 41%, possess the majority of the lake. Its proximity to the Congo's rainforests creates the humid climate. The enormous depth and tropical location of the lake prevent turnover of water masses, which means that much of the lower depths of the lake are so-called fossil water and are anoxic, lacking oxygen. The catchment area of the lake covers 231,000 square kilometers, with two main rivers flowing into the lake, numerous smaller rivers and streams, due to the steep mountains that keep drainage areas small, and one major outflow, the Lukuga River, which empties into the Congo River drainage. The major inflows are the Ruzizi River, entering the north of the lake from Lake Kivu, and the Malagarasi River, which is Tanzania's second largest river, entering in the east side of Lake Tanganyika. The Malagarasi predates Lake Tanganyika and was formerly continuous with the Congo River. Lake Tanganyika was formed about 9 to 12 million years ago in the western arm of the East African Rift Valley. It is located within Burundi, 8%, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, 45%, Tanzania, 41%, and Zambia, 6%. It has a basin area of 223,000 square kilometers and extends for 676 kilometers in a north-south direction and averages 50 kilometers in width. It the deepest lake in Africa with a maximum depth of 1,470 m and average depth of 580 m, the second deepest lake in the world, and the largest among the rift lakes with a surface area of 32,600 square kilometers and a shoreline of 1,828 kilometers. The lake holds an estimated 18,980 cubic kilometers of water, which is as much as the 5 North American Great Lakes combined. It is the largest lake in Africa and second largest in the world by volume. Despite its large volume, the lake is sensitive to climatic conditions. The climate of the basin is characterized by two seasons, a wet season between October and April, and a dry season between May and September. Rainfall is estimated at 29 km/year and evaporation at 50 km/year, therefore, Any major drop in annual rainfall and consistent increase in temperature can affect the lake's water level. The lake may, however, not suffer rapid change in depth because of its large basin and three major rivers adding water to the lake, Rusizi, Malagarasi, and Kalambo, contributing 14 km3/year, as well as the Lukuga River carrying 2.7 cubic kilometers of water per year out of the lake. Lake Tanganyika is home to more than 2,000 plant and animal species, and is one of the richest freshwater ecosystems in the world. About 600 of these species are endemic to the Lake Tanganyika watershed, a result of its long period of isolation. Almost all, 98%, of the cichlid species are endemic, exclusively native, to the lake, and many, such as fish from the brightly colored Trohues genus, are prized within the aquarium trade. This kind of elevated endemism also occurs among the numerous invertebrates in the lake, especially the mollusks, which possess similar forms to that of many marine mollusks, crabs, shrimps, copepods, jellyfishes, leeches, etc. Other animals found are the hippopotamus and the crocodile. The Gom Stream National Park and the Mahal Mountains National Park, both on the eastern shore, are famous for their chimpanzees. Gom Stream is where biologist Jane Goodall did her groundbreaking research. It is estimated that 25 to 40% of the protein in the diet of the 1 million people living around the lake comes from lake fish. Currently there are around 100,000 people directly involved in the fisheries, operating from almost 800 sites. The lake is also vital to the estimated 10 million people living in the basin. Lake Tanganyika fish can be found throughout East Africa. Commercial fishing began in the mid-1950s and has had an extremely heavy impact on the fish species. Poor farming practices in the surrounding hills coupled with aggressive deforestation has brought heavy amounts of sediment into Lake Tanganyika, smothering its vegetation, which is vital to the fish population. In addition, unregulated large-scale commercial fishing has further depleted the lake's resources, and catches are shrinking. Former industrial fisheries, which boomed in the 1980s, have subsequently collapsed. Sport fishing targets include some of the largest freshwater species, such as the Nile perch, golden perch, Goliath tigerfish, Lake Tanganyika yellow belly, nkipi, and large vundu catfish. Two ferries carry passengers and cargo along the eastern shore of the lake, the MV Limba between Kigoma and Mpulangu, and the MV Mwangoza, which runs between Kigoma and Bujumbura. The port town of Kigoma is the railhead for the railway from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. The port town of Kalemi is the railhead for the DRC rail network. Formed during the upheavals that created the Great Rift Valley 12 million years ago, the African Great Lakes were affected by the Ice Age of 18,000 years ago. The increased aridity caused Lake Victoria to dry up completely, while the shorelines of Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi fell at least 400 meters below their present levels. The Ha tribes people who live at the northern end of the lake today have an oral tradition that they have always lived in the region they call Boa. Therefore, they may have been among the first Bantu groups to arrive from Central Africa, about 2,000 years ago. Slaves captured by Arab traders from as far west as the Congo River basin were transported in the 19th century across Lake Tanganyika to Ujiji. From there they were marched to the Indian Ocean, a 1,200-kilometer walk that took from 3 to 6 months. It has been estimated that during the 50 years that the Omani Arabs controlled the route, over 1 million East Africans were shipped to the coast this way. The first known Europeans to find the lake were the explorers Richard Burton and John Hanning Speke, in 1858. They located it while searching for the source of the Nile River. Henry Morton Stanley circumnavigated the lake during his transcontinental trip from Zanzibar to the mouth of the Congo River of 1876 to 1877. The lake was the scene of two famous battles during World War I. Germany had complete control of the lake in the early stages of the war. When the Allies cut off the railway link in July 1916, the Germans abandoned the area. To avoid their prize ship falling into Allied hands, they scuttled the vessel, which was later resurrected and renamed the MV Limba. An earthquake along the East African Great Rift Valley fault line struck on December 5, 2005, approximately 6 miles, 10 km, below the surface of Lake Tanganyika. Its estimated magnitude was between 6.3 and 6.8 on the Richter scale. The heaviest damage was sustained by the eastern provinces of the Democratic Republic of Congo, a region already ravaged by extensive war and extreme poverty. The area houses tens of thousands of refugees displaced by conflicts. Dozens of houses collapsed in the DRC city of Kalemi. The quake was centered roughly below Lake Tanganyika, and in addition to the DRC, where the most widespread damage was reported, it was felt in Burundi, Tanzania, Rwanda, and as far away as the capital cities of Kenya and Angola. The lake is hemmed in by mountains that run parallel with its shores. The mountains and the lake are all oriented northwest to southeast along the boundary of the Somalian and Nubian plates. The most dramatic elevation change is beneath the surface of the lake, where Lake Tanganyika plunges to a depth of 1,470 meters. If the geologic forces that created the lake continue, Eastern Africa will eventually break away from the rest of Africa and the Great Rift Valley will become ocean. Lake Tanganyika is one of the richest freshwater ecosystems in the world, with about 2,000 species of fish, plants, crustaceans, and birds. About 500 of the species are not found anywhere else on Earth, and 50% of those species are cichlid fishes. The lake is, therefore, a unique habitat for biodiversity conservation and evolutionary studies. 3 fish species, Lake Tanganyika sardine, Limnotherissa myodon, sleek lates, Late stapersii, and Lake Tanganyika sprat, Stolotherissa tanganisi, constitute the major commercial fisheries. Both commercial and artisanal fisheries yield 165,000 to 200,000 tons of fish per year, employ about 100,000 people in fisheries-related activities, and provide 25 to 40% of the protein needs to 1 million people living around the lake. The lake is internationally famous in the ornamental fish trade as a source of prized aquarium stock. Investment opportunities in the lake basin, including cage fish farming, farming on slopes or strips of land between the rift escarpment and the lake, oil and gas development, especially in the southern shores, Ruzizi River basin border of Burundi and DRC, and along the northeastern shore of the lake, and tourism in 4 national parks: Ruzizi River Nature Reserve in Burundi, Gom River and Mahole Mountains National Parks in Tanzania, and Ansumbu National Park in Zambia. Ecological and economic threats. The ecosystem services of Lake Tanganyika and its catchment are threatened by the high population growth, overuse of resources, invasive species, habitat degradation, pollution, and climate change. The rapidly growing population contributes to a loss of water quality in the lake. This population is also exerting intense fishing pressure, especially in the northern, Burundi, and southern, Zambia, parts of the lake, where the fishable stock of high-valued sleek lates has significantly declined. Sport fishing is very popular here, and catches include the Goliath tigerfish and Nile perch. Crocodiles inhabit most of the shoreline, except around Mpulangu, probably due to the noise of people and motorboats. Swimming in the lake, in the Mpulangu area only, is an absolute treat. Warm, clear, salt-free water that changes from silky stillness to high waves for a great body surf, usually with no apparent reason for the change. Storms from way up north probably cause the still waters in the south to agitate. Thank you for watching this video.